So the spawns are on the north and south poles, I believe. There's the orange ping for the northern spawn, and if we go down to the south pole, we don't see any blue pings coming out yet. But before they do, let's do the introductions. So welcome folks to game 7 in round 2. So it's actually, well, for this series, I suppose it's the third game, but the game title is Game 7. But anyway, I digress. It is Game 7, Round 1, Game 1 of Game 7, Round 2. Oh my goodness. Can you do the rest of this, please, WrongCat? I'm completely confused myself.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bad Bot Buddies tournament. This is game number 7, round 1 of 3 in this best of 3 elimination tournament. We are watching the first round between Never Win and Cheese+Puns. Never Win, otherwise known as Northern Walk in the orange, and Cheese+Puns represented by Admiral General.
Admiral General.
No, Admiral General. Admiral General and Kazipko in blue.
Right.
I was doing so well.
You were doing so well.
We have bot factories from the blue team. We have bot factories from the orange team. I'm sensing a theme so far in this tournament, Marshall.
Yes, bots do tend to be your first factory just because they can expand easily. I believe they're cheaper than the vehicle fabricators, and you can put them in a Pelican and fly them off to places, but you do tend to see the air factories following them up. But on larger maps, you know, having those vehicles early relinquishes that map control unless you can get up some cheesy strats like a teleporter or something silly like that, because they just take so long to get to places. So having those hordes of docks going and raiding here, there and everywhere is going to be of a real advantage. Now we do start to see a lot of air factories coming out. We have 1, 2, 3 from orange. The third one is planned after a couple of P-gens there, and down on the south pole in the blue we've already got 2 and not a third one planned actually. So we just have a lot more bots factories planned from Kazipko and Admiral General. Now the Northern Walk folks have proved themselves in previous tournaments to be a very strong team in 2 versus 2s. So we could see an upset here, and in fact when I made my predictions previously, I gave Northern Walk the favour to win this best of 3.
Did you now?
I did. I think they can. I think they can pull through, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see. Now, an orange bomber already coming over, taking down a blue fabricator. They're a really nice early win. A few hummingbirds are going to try and chase that pesky bumblebee down and finish him off. Unfortunately, he is going to run into a bit of Galata and get taken down anyway. So revenge is sweet and best served hot. Now, looking at the overall strat,
that's not my recipe.
well, it is. It's. I suppose it's the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I suppose, but I mean, the strategies are so similar here. Just looking around, I mean, over here, for example, orange is expanding to the plateau with a couple of fabbers, building a Galata. Blue is expanding with a fabricator to the plateau, building a point defense. I mean, they're just trying to expand to the same places. Blue getting off a nice bit of scouting there. Do they have a bumblebee to go and take it down? No, they don't, but the Galata will be up instead anyway.
They did in fact have a bumblebee, but it was taken down. That Galata turret actually
that's why I didn't see one.
Very quickly.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the bomber was in front of the fighters and was taken down by the Galata before it could deal any damage. That's expansion secured, at least for the time being, from air raiding. However, we now see some docks coming in from the blue team because there are no anti-ground defences there as yet. Orange team pinging now. Oops, run away. There's no ramp there though, guys. You're kind of stuck. So they're going to get hemmed in by those docks.
Can the bumblebees come in and save them though? There is one hero bumblebee. He's got a nice path. He's not quite going to do it. The docks are going to focus down those fabricators.
But he has saved the metal extractor. And the metal extractor now, I believe they take only about 20 to 30 seconds to pay for themselves.
Yep.
So having that alive long enough means you have got a net positive to the risky play of expanding onto that metal point.
Yeah.
Now we see some raiding, in fact, coming in from the orange team. Outlying expansion here, defended by a single laser defense tower. Notice the W's are single there, and actually that has effectively ended that docks rush before it's taken down. Even a single metal extractor, well defended there by the blue team. And this is where, at this stage in the game, where these defenses are starting to get plonked down, you need to have something with a little bit more health about it to try and help you to knock your opponents off of their perches.
Yeah, putting those laser defenses and Galata down is kind of like marking your territory in a sort of, you know, primeval way, as it were. You know,
cocking your leg.
Cocking your leg. Yes. This here be my land. Be gone. But we do start to see the transition to vehicles and pushing out a little bit from Orange Team now in a number of places. Unfortunately, Blue Team at this point just happen to have the greater numbers in a couple of locations. This single laser turret, though, is not going to survive in this instance, and these two metal extractors could potentially go down. I suspect they will, but we also... Well, I mean, talk about marking territory. There's a fabricator been denied there by Blue as the orange ones hop in. That's going to get completed just in time to deal with those docks there.
You hope. Well, there's two sets of docks there. They should really just push straight in. Running away is actually probably cost them more.
That's a set of sparks rather than docks. And actually, they're going to take down that laser turret.
Only just, though. Wow. That's really wiped through. I think actually the net win there was for the orange team because the sparks are quite expensive units from memory.
Potentially, yes. Looking around, though, I mean, into the actual bases, we see all those bot factories actually seemingly to transition into sparks. So I reckon the ratio is probably about 2 to something or other. But T2 bots is up from Blue. T2 bots is up from Blue. We have a couple of locusts.
Oh no! Not
all
locusts.
You need. Locusts. Now, I've seen Admiral General and Kazipko micro their locusts, and they have made 3 locusts go a very, very long way. So even 2 locusts at this point in the game, when Orange have not even started thinking about T2, is not even in a build queue anywhere, that could wreck face. I mean, look at where the units are positioned in the Orange base. They're not really in there. So if the locusts get in, there's going to be absolute chaos. We'll have to keep a very close eye on those locusts as they begin to move now. Moving forward. Oh,
I tend to think of locusts as boom bots on steroids, and I don't think I'm wrong in that that analogy. They are getting rather too close to those docks. You don't want to let those shoot at those because they're quite weak to hard-hitting, fast-firing units like that. These fabricators are going to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Zup, zup.
Oh dear. That is not the noise that locusts make, WrongCat. I believe... No, that is not.
Go on, correct me then. Oh my word, they are right in the middle of space. There is not much at all.
That's the noise they make. There's only one left and he dies.
Okay, that was not as effective as it could be. Docks, as it turns out, are very, very good at dealing with locusts because they are fast-firing and quick to respond.
It was very fortunate that... that those locusts moved past that docks force, and so Orange were able to be alerted to that threat early enough. But there's more locusts, and given how fast locusts can move, they can be sent in from multiple different directions at multiple times. Plus there's now the threat of potential slammers coming out, and indeed we do see the transition into the slammers. Ooh, this could be potentially nasty
here, running the locusts in the same route again, because now Orange have already got the defences ready to go.
But locusts outdo bombers big time. Can the locusts, though? They don't have the scouts, so they're running in blind. Their vision isn't great, and they're not taking down those buildings.
They ran into an inferno, which is probably the worst thing you can do as a locust.
And Orange have air control. Yippee! So bumblebees are going to be ideal to deal with slammers.
These cheesy strats not paying off so far. Looking at the economies tab, the blue team definitely have the economy advantage here. We've had a temporary boost there from Orange, who just started to extract from some wreckages, I believe. But really, they are miles ahead. They've got at least 50 metal lead for the most part in this game, and they're using that to great effect.
But
we've got some raiding coming in here. There needs some more raiding to happen. We need to take some more of these blue metal extractors down.
Yeah, they really do. Blue are just a little bit too far ahead, especially given that they have the T2 in their base now. A couple of T2 fabbers have been really putting in the work, changing up the T1 mechs into T2 mechs, so you do get a total of some form of amount of mechs, 27 mechs total per point when you have fully upgraded those.
Of course, yes, they do have those tier 2 metal extractors. I don't see any tier 2. There is actually a tier 2 bot factory, no, vehicle factory going up in the orange base now. I think in response to having seen the locust, they've thought, actually we're behind on this particular part of the game, and having those tier 2 metal extractors will be a huge boost to their economy, and they do need that to catch up at this point.
Yeah.
We're looking across the army tab. Army count is not too dissimilar between the two sides at the moment. Although the orange team do lead by an amount, of course, do take into account that some of that count is advanced bots from the blue team.
Oh, an air fight there. A few bumblebees, though, getting picked off. Unfortunately, their turning circle betrayed them. And, oh, a few docks moving in against a defensive pelter. That didn't work out very well for them. They did manage to take down that Fabber, though, just before that pelter was finished. Really nice work there. But Sparks moving against docks are just too good. Sparks too good against docks.
Well, I think Sparks are pretty much the ideal counter to a docks force because they have that large area of effect weapon, which really, really does a number on the closely packed docks.
This is true, but we do see the slammers coming out. Bumblebees have found them though. Interceptors coming in to try and defend them and support them on their push forwards. They have managed to do that. That's 5 slammers potentially
now, what
threatening
does
this
Orange
base.
have to answer to this? What does Orange have to defend against these? What's going to stop
a potential
those
sheller.
slammers?
They are going to try and rush out that sheller, I suspect. Are they getting their commanders to
But
assist
is that
it?
going to be
No.
enough to stop those slammers from just tearing through all of that power? I think that if
probably
they got
not.
any sense, or the commander, even if they get too close to him, that could be a bit of a nuisance.
A single Uber cannon there could deal with that force pretty nicely, but the slammers with their rate of fire, they need the bumblebees to come out now. They've lost 2 factories already to these slammers. Unfortunately, they are focusing down the units there, so they're not actually going to do too much else. Another ping from Blue saying, "Oi, we should
Well,
cheeky
more coming now,
expansion
this
over
time
here."
supported by docks, who are going to start to soak up some of that light unit fire. And I think, again, this could be quite a nasty little attack. If they do focus on those power generators, they could really cripple Northern Walk's economy.
And there's locusts to follow them up as well. This could be the base killer here, because while all the units are answering the... Wow, that sheller put in work though. And while the units are answering the T2 army, the locusts are going to come in. We already see a couple just wandering around that power blockade there. Just nom 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 nom. Factories going down. Air coming in, getting the scouts
Wow.
off, seeing those commanders. The GG called by Wormia already. They've lost too much. Looking in the economy tab there, they're too far behind. GG from Kazipko. We'll see the self-destruct any minute now. A strong opening from Orange, but unfortunately they just weren't able to follow it up, and they didn't get the scout on that T2 in time in order to know quite what was coming at them, and unfortunately they were a bit late to the party with the vehicles.
I'd go as
Game
far
over.
as to, I would go as far as to say that the poor timing of their upgrade to T2 is what cost them that game. If they had upgraded at a similar sort of time to the blue team, to Team Cheese strats, then I think we could possibly have seen a very different outcome. And hopefully they'll look at that and think, we made a mistake here. And really what it comes down to is scouting. And a lot of even high-level players forget to do this. Scouting is so important because you cannot fight a battle if you don't know what you're fighting against. And as I was saying to you earlier, having Sparks as the perfect counter to docks, of course you only know that you need to build Sparks if you know that you've got docks coming to you in the first place.
I was just having a brief look around that planet as well. Orange actually had more map control in terms of metal sites colonized, I suppose is the term there. So if they just had that earlier T2 in order to capitalize on the metal they already had and get that production rolling, that could have been a very, very different game indeed.
That was in no way a steamroll, and I do think that knowing now how their opponents play, I would like to think that Team Northern Walk or Team Neverwin, whichever they prefer to go by at this moment in time, have a chance at pulling back a victory, at least in this next round. And then perhaps we will have to go to a third round to decide this best of 3. Right, Marshall, we are in the game. We've finally fixed our hashtag technical issues. We have all 4 players here on the Taxman system. Memories coming back to me now.
Yes, this was the system where the Astraeus Vanguard drop made its name.
Of course, with the lava being as restrictive as it is, you've got each team starting on a separate island, so they have to bridge that gap somehow. Now, I remember I remember way back when, a few tournaments ago is not quite accurate, teleporters were making their debut in PA, and getting to see those used in competitive games for the first time was an absolute treat. We got to see Vanguards put to good use, streaming through teleporters and cascading along those narrow passages right into the heart of their opponent's bases.
Oh my goodness,
I'm
pings
guessing
coming out from Blue. What on earth?
Which blue would that be, Marshall?
That would be the blue.
I think we're gonna have to. I think we're
bluer
gonna have to
blue.
stick with blue and purple for the purposes of this particular game.
We'll go with light blue. or cyan maybe, or teal.
Or I'm trying to think of some more
Well,
imaginative
there's
names we can
navy,
come up
the
with.
navy team.
In the navy.
We can launch the commanders, cause they're doing it. And looks as though the teams are spawned together. 2 double spawns on different continents. So the dark blue team, Kazipko and Admiral General going air and bots first, representing team... I've got the name cue sheet here. Cheese+Puns. And in the light blue team, just over here, we've got Lordathon and Wormia representing Northern Walk in Team Netherwin. I am Marshall and I'm joined by TheWrongCat.
Good evening. And now I already said to you, Marshall, before the match began that we were looking at teleporters for this map. And indeed, I can see queued up in the dark blue team, the cheesy team. They already have a teleporter on the queue ready to go. No such joy from the light blue team. They instead seem to be favouring more mobile strats, building air factories. And air is going to be important in this match because there is no direct link by land between the 2 bases. However, teleporters are fairly cheap, fairly expendable, and that means that you can very effectively form a bridge between the 2 continents with land forces. And that should not be underestimated. What
You
must be
already
taken...
see, sorry though, just
Go
to
on.
interrupt, there's the combat fabber there with the proxy telly already. So dark blue, the navy team have got their skates
Oh, wow.
on. The combat fabber is there already with the teleporter established. I suspect we'll see a commander go through there to establish a forward base. There's no sense in just sending through a couple of fabbers. I reckon a commander will go
Wow.
through there for the enhanced build speed at this point in the game. We'll get up some factories and maybe see some boombots coming out. Meanwhile, from the lighter blue team, though, we have the drifters, the hover tanks.
They've
coming
seen it.
out.
They've just seen that cheeky expansion. Now, this is very aggressive play from Dark Blue. You can see what they're trying to do. They're trying to absolutely take control of this choke point, deny all of that expansion room. We saw all those pings from the Dark Blue team earlier. That's what they were implying. They were saying to each other, let's put a choke point there, block it off, stop them expanding, and then take all of this metal, which is exactly what they're going to try and do. And cheesy strategy it may be. Putting your commander on the front line like that is a dangerous strategy, but we now see the docks from light blue starting to react, come in. Docks not that effective in trying to dislodge a commander which has come through. This is a high-risk strategy, of course. You lose the commanders, you lose the game. Losing half of your victory condition this early on would be devastating for the dark blue team. So let's hope for their sake they are able to pull this off.
Meanwhile, though, you could push in with the drifters to take out that commander, or they could factor in some boombots. Boombots are very good against commanders, and they're very quick and cheap to build. But the longer they leave this blue commander, the dark blue commander, I suppose, navy commander, here on this forward base, the harder it is going to be to dislodge and kill him off.
I think what they need to do here is focus on this teleporter as soon as they can. Stop those units from streaming through. What really they could be doing, these drifters you can now see coming across here, trying to take advantage of the fact that the blue team's attention is most likely focused on their own front line, sending these drifters through here to try and upset them and get these let's see, these docks are coming through to try and deal with them. I don't think they're going to be able to. Drifters are very, very good raiding units, especially this early on in the game, trying to just put in some work, but well defended, very well microed, hiding behind the metal extractor by those docks. Those drifters seen off. We've got mines. Are these mines being placed? They are mines being placed along this little causeway here. That's, again, a very good piece of play there. That means that any successful incursion by the light blue team will be significantly weakened before it gets anywhere near that teleporter. They can see now the force has been amassed. It's moving in slowly. Have they got any scout vehicles in there? They do not. They will not see those mines until it is far, far too late.
Yeah, the docks are going to take the full force of the mines in the face unless the dark blue team can defend with their own docks. Actually, the light blue team, having seen that combat fab, they've realised that the mines must be going up. And let's have a look at the vehicle factories there. Do we see skitters coming out? Yes, they do. The light blue team are switched on. They've got their brain in deer, and they've seen that combat fabricator. And this is exactly the thing, because skitters can detect mines as well as combat fabricators.
Look what I've just seen, Marshall.
Ooh!
This is what we call tit for tat, like for like, eye for an eye, teleporter for a teleporter.
Anything you can cheese, I can cheese stronger. And there's also some bumblebees taking out a few fabricators on the raiding here, which is, you know, making sure that you're defending your base, doing this teleporter shenanigans, and trying to, contain an opponent while continuing to raid like that. That's some impressive
feat
play.
Of
That
multitasking.
It is.
Absolute feat of multitasking, and it's really good play. I'm very pleased to see that. And I'm pleased that the light blue team are reacting in the way that they are. They're not being silly. I mean, at the moment, don't forget, they have not only are they very well choked in here, the dark blue team is so heavily invested in this particular strategy. They're going as far as to build their advanced vehicle factory on this side of the divide.
It is most effective there, though, because that means that the units don't have to worry about having to squeeze through a teleporter, and their levelers and shellers, especially shellers here, given that they've fortified and almost turtled themselves into that little sort of headland almost there, is going to mean that those shellers are really, really potent at taking on any of these forces that try and push in.
If I were dark blue right now and I could see this force coming towards me, I would be getting a little bit concerned, because there are quite a lot of units here.
I'm not sure there's enough to fight off this commander just yet. It's going to be close.
Pelters being built behind them as well, of course, which are going to be very good at it's just making small cracks in their lines and causing them to think about what they're doing. Having their commander on the front line like that is risky. There's enough of a force there to potentially cause him a lot of headache.
Nice uber cannon there,
focus their fire on that commander, they could easily take him out already.
They want to try and take out that teleporter ideally rather than the commander, I feel. But
I would agree.
The thing is,
not got any infernos.
Well, they had one, but unfortunately just never got into range of anything. And so that force that could have done so much more he has weakened a commander, but there's not much else there. I mean, I suppose they made a gap. Yeah,
it was lack of focus. That was what that was. They had the force there to deal some damage out. If they'd held back and gone for the commander instead of running into that turret, they could have killed him.
Yeah. They would need to spread out their units a bit more, though, to survive those uber cannons. Light blue, though, struggling with their power. We can see their teleporter turning on and off like a child does to a light switch. And oh my goodness, it's not actually... Light blue need to sort their economy out, because now T2 is out from the Navy team. T2 just beginning for the light blue team. And it's really going to be important to get that economy going. If we look over, though, at the other continent, the light blue commander has begun to establish his base. Now, he needs to be careful because he is being aggressive to a cheese-potent team. He needs to be careful that he doesn't mature too early, because there are the boombots. We actually see the boombots coming out against the vehicles, which will be actually much better placed.
Oh,
Inferno did some good defense there.
Unfortunately, the Inferno, was aiming his gun the wrong way when those boombots came around for the second time, which is what led to that little demise there. But you know what? This is good to see. Both teams putting heavy pressure on one another, right on their offensive lines.
Yeah. But the thing is, the boombots, though, can go in against that light blue commander, and there's nothing there to defend against him.
Some counter pelters being built by the dark blue team, and actually doing a very effective job in preventing the light blue team from dislodging them. So they've got a very strong foothold here now.
They have got a very strong one indeed. Look at, not only have they got that foothold, but just look at the expansion they've got. They've gone and claimed all of this metal, and that's doing wonders for their economy. 285 metal against 158. Now, meanwhile, light blue has invaded their island, but they haven't expanded. And not only that, but crucially, well sent, a T2 Faber has come back through to help bolster this base here. Oh. We do have a few units pushing in against the dark blue commander there, though, but the pelters are complete. The defences are...
robust,
yes, that's the word I was looking for. Just the word I was looking for. But the number of units, if we go into the army tab, 182 to 141. And not only that, but they're split. So I think light blue is in a very precarious position with this aggressive commander. Very, very precarious indeed.
What they're trying to do is more or less exactly what the dark blue team are trying to do on their side. However, the landscape just does not favour them. They do not have that narrow choke point, which the dark blue team have taken such heavy advantage of. And what I can see now is that pelters are trading against other pelters, and they're trying to It looks like actually the scouting game is being won by the light blue team here. The commander is now being pushed in aggressively.
Yeah, the commander will take the hits, and the boombots are there behind him. So the commander will uber cannon the defensive units, or are the boombots going to rush in? Are they going to try and rush in? I think. They're going to go for it. They're going for the pelters. They've killed off a pelter, which is nice. And the remaining units there are surrounding that light blue commander. He is in a very, very dangerous position, being pushed a little bit by his own units there, and that's a disadvantage. And come a second wave of boombots while the docks are going to... Yeah. Oh dear, here comes the uber cannon from the light dark blue commander. The boombots there... Oh my goodness, they're going to get a kill!
He's done for.
Down he goes. The teleporter survives, but there's levelers there.
To what end? To what end?
Exactly. The units are just too late. Too little, too late. And unfortunately...
Light blue are hemmed in here.
Light blue are very much hemmed in. And not only that, but T2 bots have almost finished from dark blue. And we know what dark blue like to do with their T2 bots. Locusts incoming!
I don't think... to be honest, I don't even think locusts are really going to be strictly necessary at this point.
Well, I mean, look at this entire power field here. That's ripe for the nomming.
I'm just... I expect that we'll be seeing some levelers, pelters coming through. Levelers are indeed coming through now from the dark blue team. They're going to start pushing in against the light blue team, and they are going to have some issues on their doorstep.
Yes, not only are the levelers the issue, but the shellers as well. And especially with good intel, those shellers can really hit home. We finally got the T2 out from light blue, though. I think it's a little too late. Of course, light blue are not out. They are still in this game, but they have a bit of a hill to climb. And
They've got, at the moment, let's say the economy, unfortunately, is against them. They are 100 metal per second behind their opponents. They just do not have... let's have a look at the army tabs, you say. Look at that difference. Mobile unit count, 250 versus 100 for light blue. They have got a gigantic hill to climb, and the commander down as well.
Here come the locusts and the boombots through that teleporter. Of course, now that there's no defense needed on their own continent, all units can stream through the teleporter to be aggressive on the other one. But, oh my goodness, those locusts are going to come through and tear through the back door, I fear. Are they going to get a chance to shine? That's the question. In comes the air. Maybe the air will get the scout to inform the locust decisions.
But there's just a large blob of dark blue units there, ready to just rush in.
Yeah, we've got a nice mix of all sorts of stuff there. We've got some combat fabs, we've got some stitches. We don't see any men's, but we don't need the men's, really. We even see some blue hawks, interestingly enough. Very, very interesting.
Blue hawks, I don't think I've seen those used for quite some time.
Anti-orbital, sort of mobile.
Oh, I know. I've not seen those used. As I'll say, usually it tends to be the just spammer, if you will. And now we see the sea of dark blue units starting to make their way through the little intricate maze they've created for themselves, and they're just going to make a slow, steady march towards the light blue base. The light blue commander is actually quite near the front line as well, so it's very likely that he's going to feel the full wrath of this force. Now the boombots rushing in against Infernos, which is a shame because they've more or less wasted those.
They did take a number of heavy losses there with those boombots, which is somewhat unfortunate. What we're going to do is look at this in dynamic camera.
But actually, light blue just don't have the advantage that it looked like they had, because they just wasted all those boombots on units which are ideally equipped to deal with them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think at this point it's that sort of luring into a trap of double wall strats and artillery. I mean, look at that. They're just goading all of light blue's forces into a trap. It's a trap!
And really, light blue, I think, in ideal circumstances, would have held their units back and not fought them at the wall. But I think at this stage, they probably accepted the fact that they are massively overwhelmed here. Dark blue have got double their economy. They've got control on their home island. whereas light blue have no such spearhead on their opponent's island. I think they're just sending units into the grinder just to get it over and done with a little bit quicker.
Quite possibly. And we'll probably see the GG's called very soon indeed. Going back into the army tab there, now 128 plays, 300 plus. So it's really not looking good for the light blue team. And we can see in the picture-in-picture how all those icons are just flooding in now.
And actually, surprisingly enough, the dark blue force hasn't quite made such an impact as I thought it was going to. Looks like the commander's just fired off a really poor uber cannon there, caught on the corner of the factory. This force isn't going to be able to cut it though. Light blue defended this exceptionally well.
Yeah, this time it's just not quite going to manage it, as you say there. And there is the air forces coming out from from light blue now, but there's boombots there as well. There's still the vehicles to defend.
I'm trying to see what the killing blow is going to be here, because they've got so much economy. Why have they not got more units here to send through? Have they got a nuke on the go or something?
No.
Are they building a Titan?
I don't think so. Going back into their base. Yeah.
And the
There we go.
GGs have been called.
GG's, you bested us. GG's. Well played. Interesting map. Very interesting map.
Of course, Taxman is one of those maps that was made before the advent of symmetry into the map creation system, and it was at the time deemed to be one of the more balanced maps available in the map pool. Subsequently, and you may have seen in the chat there, the players saying that the fact that the islands are different shapes means that there are some concerns over the balance of things. Whether that's true or not, that's probably debatable. And I'm sure some people will feel very strongly one way or the other. But it's nice for me, as somebody who has been involved with PA for a long time, to see what I would say is a fairly nostalgic system like this come back into play again.
Commander on the front lines on the north, though. He's got a lot of units coming in against him. He's trying to build some walls, though. He's taking a few hits, down to 92%. I'm not entirely sure this defensive force is going to be enough. Can the White Air Force come in and save him? There's so many bombers and interceptors coming in. I'm not sure he's going to get away from this alive. There's a few Infernos in there as well. He's taking a lot of hits now, down below 50%. The Infernos are gone, but there are too many tanks there. That commander is going to pop very prematurely indeed. Don't move your docks in, because the commander's going to explode. You don't want to lose even more defensive units than is necessary. Now that leaves that northern approach really wide open. They've finally got some T2 bots out. Are they going to try and get up some defenses really quickly here? Because I think they need to. T1 bots are just not cutting it anymore.
T1 bots, I'm afraid, have a fairly